Being dismasted is a terrifying event, but in the middle of the ocean, probably the #1 thing that haunts sailors attempting to complete a long crossing. But, armed with Starlink, Z and I felt just a bit closer to shore and civilization, even though we were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The Starlink made it possible to communicate with the Coast Guard the entire time. We even uploaded a YouTube video about our situation about 6 days after the dismasting. This video, about why we think this happened, has been requested by many people.
You want to take a break?
That's coming up next. Cue the intro. During the day, about 4 to 5 hours before the dismasting, the winds were decreasing, the wave height was also decreasing, and both were forecasted to continue to decrease overnight. We were pulled out with the Genoa on port, wing on wing with the main. We had rigged Aquarius like this many times before. The main traveler was moved all the way to starboard, and we locked down the main boom with the preventer. At about 10 p.m., a wave larger than most picked up the back of Aquarius, and we started to surf down the wave, and during this time Aquarius turned to port, backwinding the Genoa. The autopilot caught up, and the Genoa popped back. At this second I noticed that the mast had creased 4 feet above the deck. This could have happened the second we backwinded the Genoa, or seconds later when the autopilot caught up. Within 10 minutes, the triadic was the only thing holding up the main mast, a stay which connects the top of the main to the top of the mizzen. As Aquarius rocked back and forth, the main mast continued to bash into the mizzen. We tried, but it was impossible to stop the main from taking down the mizzen. And after about 3 hours, both masts were laying on the deck. We worked 3 days straight. No food, no sleep, just work. We were able to patch up the holes in the deck, get the AIS, the radar, and the Starlink working again. We also got everything tied down tight on deck. Then, we got fuel from one planet. Thank you very much. And one more fuel stop in the middle of the night from Pirin. We also made a quick video update. We received a lot of nice comments. And then some not so nice comments. And some from the AMEL community, claiming it had to be the chain plates, or it had to be a problem with the standing rigging, or just bad seamanship, or this one, poor babies.
Yeah. It looks like compression right there. Bam.
The surveyor found no problems with the chain plates or the standing rigging. So I think it's time we hear from the professionals.
So what do you think happened with this?
You're sailing with
One pole.
one pole, and the sail
Backwinds?
yes, take like this, like a jibe, not a complete jibe.
Yeah.
The sail do like this, clack, clack.
Yeah.
And the part go in the mast, and you have the compression on the mast, and compression here, and the mast.
Just rips right there.
For me, it's that.
Do you see any corrosion in this at all? None?
I never see that. I work on many AMEL. Because in the marin you have 50 AMEL here minimum.
Yeah.
I change many rigging and I never see AMEL with that. But I saw many boats they lose the mast with the same accident.
But not AMEL,
Same
AMEL.
accident? But
Yes, with the jibe. But not
And
a
now,
complete
sir?
jibe, because the sail
it says
is like
click,
this,
click.
like this and clack.
Yeah.
And the problem is not like this, it's when the mast
Goes
will
back,
like
goes back. Yeah.
the wind. What is the power of the wind?
It was, at the time, it was only like 15, 16,
16
16 knots or something like
not
that.
too much.
not too much.
Many wave?
Yeah, big wave.
Because
Yeah.
if you do that with a wave, the boat also, the power of the boat. The
See,
sailboat-
that's the problem with these poles being here like this, because it's right into the side of the mast, and it's like,
Normally, I think AMEL use that with two sides because you
Yeah.
have two sails in front of the boat. Two sails.
Right.
You have one at this side, one at this side. And if you have two sails, the boat here equilibre.
yeah, but it is still, if you backwind, it's still going to hit one side. Backwind one side, it shields the other sail, because when you're coming down and you have both wing on wing, if you backwind this one, now this one covers this sail, and then when it pops back, it just pops back. And the same thing can happen, whether it's one or two. It just sucks. It really just sucks.
So there I was, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, dismasted, and I was just informed that I was the guy responsible for all the AMELs losing value, plus all the other messages stating that it had to be a problem with the rigging or the chain plates or bad seamanship. Then, the calls with other sailors. Ken, cut everything and dump it. I said no. Ken, you need to get rid of it. What they really wanted me to understand is that the insurance companies will not pay if they find corrosion or a problem with the rigging that should have been repaired with proper maintenance. But with the weight of all those losses for all those AMEL owners, this made me more determined to find out what really happened. If I cut away, then all the evidence is gone. No. If they find something wrong that is my problem, then it's my problem. I received another email. Now, this same dude claims that Aquarius had a violent jibe, and that caused the mainmast to come down. Being that I am still in the middle of the ocean at this point, how would he know? Pointing the finger at the repair I made on the Traveler a month before. I found a problem with the main Traveler during routine maintenance and removed the internal block and inserted an external block. I still believe my repair is more sturdy than original, and given the fact that there was no uncontrolled jibe, violent or not, the entire time I have been sailing Aquarius, this statement is libel. And given my history with this dude, it was made with malice. That said, the uncontrollable jibe is going to be a topic of discussion as I continue my research into why Aquarius was dismasted. There is a lot of information to unpack here, and this was written by who I believe is one of the top 10 people on the planet that knows the most about the AMEL Super Maramu. Let's get to the facts. First, a Super Maramu was dismasted, both masts on the deck in 2002 or 2003. Second, the Super Maramu was rigged wing on wing with one pole on the Genoa, the same as Aquarius when she was dismasted. But it sounds like AMEL made no statement of fact regarding why the vessel was dismasted in 2002 or 2003, just innuendos that it was due by an uncontrolled jibe. And this alone prompted AMEL to change the user manual recommending not to sail with one pole. In this document, Oliver also claims that he believes that it is still safe to sail wing on wing with one pole on the Genoa. This is interesting that AMEL used the word imperatively. This is an absolute, a demand, a must, that both poles be used at the same time, and you can never use just one pole. But, according to Jimp, he was never informed of this change in the procedure for the poles because he purchased Aquarius in 1999. So AMEL changes the procedure and fails to warn the previous buyers. Is this true? Well, it does seem so. There's still a lot of captains that haven't got the memo. Even Admiral Bill himself sailed thousands of miles poled out on one side. Did Bill know of the change at the time? Well, I would hope not, or he would be a bit of a hypocrite. Even Delos was poled out on one side in over 35 knots of wind. This letter, written by Bob, the owner of Friendship 2, and yes, it is the same Super Maramu 2000 I bought to take the masts and put them on Aquarius. It was sitting in Trinidad for over 13 years. Friendship 2 was dismasted in 2006, and so unknowingly at the time, I've got some of the newest masts made by AMEL for a Super Maramu. Yes, huge upside for Aquarius. This letter includes the damage that was done by the poles taking down the mast and how it happened. Bob was in Bali, needed to leave the marina here, and planned to move Friendship 2 over to the anchorage here. But a few fishing boats got in his way, and he ended up on the reef here. This is why I always use our EcoPilot in shallow areas, and I do have a discount code below for fellow sailors that would like to purchase one for themselves. After a few waves pushed him further onto the reef, Friendship 2, with the poles only secured with a hook, got loose and one grounded on the reef, taking the mast down. If the poles were secured with a line, Bob probably would have escaped with minimal damage. Some may object, but I am entering this into evidence only to show that the poles alone are capable of dismasting a Super Maramu. Let's look at what we've got so far. Between 1980 and 2005, approximately 900 AMELs were delivered with similar pole systems. About 800 of them were delivered before the change in the user manual in 2004, reducing the wind speed, angle, and forbidding the use of one pole. In 2003 and 2004, Jimp, who bought Aquarius new in 1999, was sailing it around the world, and he wrote a book about his circumnavigation, which AMEL gave as a gift to the first 50 owners of the AMEL 55. He has a lot of history with AMEL, as Jimp bought 3 brand new AMELs over a 25-year period. I was trained on how to sail Aquarius by Jimp.
You're on your own now.
I know.
But you will do very well.
And when I asked him if he was aware of the change in the user manual in 2004, he said no. When Jimp demanded a response from AMEL why he was not informed when the user manual was changed in 2004, AMEL's response was, "Sorry, you can't convince me that one Super Maramu being double dismasted in 2002 or 2003 caused by captain error or uncontrolled jibe would warrant this change, given 24 years of product on the sea. No, there has to be something else. But if there was another Super Maramu, only 3 months old, rigged wing on wing in similar weather conditions, with the main mast broken in the same place as Aquarius, but the triadic broke, leaving the mizzen up, Why, that looks eerily the same as Aquarius. I was told this never happened before. This situation is a lot like this. Blame the pilot, change the manual, but at all costs, keep it secret. I rest my case. So you want the truth?
You can't handle the truth.
If you like this video, give us a like down below and click here to subscribe. That really helps us. And if you want to watch more of us, click one of those.